Hi, welcome. Now I am going to show you what is the difference between the filter and the slicer in pivot tables. Okay, the data what we have here is the product data for each product. What is the customer attached to that product, and the category and the country and the sales made in these 4 months. Okay, January, February, March and April. Okay, similarly for I have about 277 records. Okay, each is the sales record, and so it will have a respective product, customer, category and country. Now what I am going to do is I am going to create a pivot table on that, and I am going to explain to you what is the difference between the filter and the slicer. Okay, so what I just select the source data. This is our 8 fields or our source data. It has 277 records. Then I'll go to insert pivot table. In the pivot table, it is trying to show you that select a table or range, which is our source data range. We already selected. If you haven't selected that, then you need to click this one and go and select it. But since I selected already, then it shows that the table or range values. If you haven't selected, probably I'll show to you how to select. Okay, probably just if you haven't selected, you go and select your range. It could be partial or full. Okay, I selected the whole range, then the table or range. This is my source data. Okay, then choose where you want the pivot table reports to be placed, in a new worksheet or existing worksheet. I already have an existing worksheet called filter versus slicer, so I am going to existing worksheet. Location is just click on the worksheet and you click on whichever place you want to place your pivot table. Okay, then press OK. Then it shows 2 different areas. One is the pivot table report place, and the other one is the pivot table fields pane. Okay, what you have here is that you have all the columns whichever is available in your source data. Okay, now you can select you have 4 parts here, 4 boxes. One is a filter. This is where the filter comes in. Okay, where you can put the reports filter. Then you also have a columns and rows and the calculated values. Okay, this is the body of the pivot table, the values. These ones are the column and the rows headers. Okay, probably for what you want to see on the product. Okay, you can just drag above the product. Okay, category you want to put it in columns, then you can see the column headers become the category values, new or old. Okay, now you want to see the January sales, then the sales will come the body of the pivot table. Okay, so now what happens here is that the filters. Okay, you can apply filters in few ways. Either okay, before we move on, I just to put this one meaningful name, product, column labels are category. Okay, now what we have here is that you can apply a filter on few ways. Once you created the rows and columns, what happens is that you already it shows a kind of filter already attached to the rows. Okay, so in rows you selected product, and this full set of product is here, and the filter is already there for the product. Okay, by clicking on this drop down box, you can sort the product as well and also apply the filter. Okay, so in this filter, what you have, you can select only for a few items, Alice mutton and aniseed syrup. Then the product is moved to Alice mutton and aniseed syrup. This is the row filter. Okay, And similarly you also have the columns. You have a new or old. I want only the old items, then press OK in the category. Okay, so it's already given you the filter on rows and columns. Okay, this is the filter what you have. Okay, and also you can see the label filters and the value filters. Okay, so in the value filters and label filters you can use the labels, what kind of labels you want to use it, and the value filters also there. Okay, these two I will explain to you in a different video for filters. Okay, now our objective is to see the difference between the filters as well as the slicers. Okay, so now what we have this category. Okay, category also you have the new and old. You can select both or any of them. Okay, the values are there and you can apply the filter on that. Okay, so now the interesting part is I want to report filter. Okay, so what I will do is I put the country as the filter on the report filter. You can see that you have all the countries available. Once you put it in the filter box selection, then you can select for which country you want to look into. You can make it as a multiple items and select multiple items. Okay, only for countries Australia and Canada. Okay, something like this. So this is what the filter is working on. These are all the traditional filters. Okay, this is more familiar with our worksheet Excel users. They know already how to work on the traditional filters. But there comes a concept called slicer. What is slicer? Slicer is more like a multi-list box kind of thing. Okay, which is available to select. It is also will act like a filter. Okay, I will show to you where it is. You click on the pivot table, then go to analyze, then you can see the insert slicer. Okay, once you insert slicer, it is ask you for in what field you want to use the slicer. Okay, so I want it on the slicer on the country. Okay, which is the report filter here. Okay, so once you click, then it will show you here select box. Okay, in the select box you can see the same Australia and Canada we selected already is there. You can just press the mouse and you can drag and select whatever country you want. Okay, it's very interesting that you can straightforwardly you can select. It is more like those who are creating the dashboard kind of reports. It is very useful. You can straight away, people can press in one click, they can analyze the pivot table. Okay, I want only the EU records are seen here. In the traditional filter also you can do the same thing. I want Australia, I can see the Australia. But the interesting thing is that this is on one click. This one you need to go to the filter and do it in a traditional way. Okay, the other stuff here is that this is more traditional filters are more space. This one occupy more space, slicer. Okay, if you are worrying about the space on the screen, then you must go for the traditional filter. You cannot go for the country filter because you have the you cannot go for the slicer because your screen may not have that much space for to have multiple slices, because you can have any number of slices, but there won't be any space on your screen to put the slices. Okay, so if it is you have only a few slices, about 3 or 4 or 5 slices, you can keep it in the screen. But more than that, you must go for traditional filters. That is more convenient to see only the data, not on the not it is not visible. Once you select it, it will occupy only one row. Okay, even for the row and the column filters are just a drop down kind of menu. So once you select it, it is hidden. Okay, so it is no longer occupying the space, but slices are occupying the space. Same time, you want to see what are all the multiple selection you have done in traditional filters. It will show only the multiple items, but in slicer you can just have a glance, you will know, okay, this is for Australia and UK. Okay, this is the main difference also. Okay, one more thing what you have here is that, okay, I will go here, show field list. You have that this country, this category. Okay, so I want the category also to be on the filter. If I put it on the filters level, what is happening, it is no more in the column wise. Okay, so if see this category and country, for example this country I put it in the row wise, it is no more in the report filter. It is more interesting that when you in the normal traditional filters, once you added that one to the filters, you cannot have that one in rows or columns in the pivot table. It will appear only in the report filter. Okay, for example country I put it here, so the country I want it on the filter, report filter. I cannot have, if it moves to report filter, I cannot have it in the report itself. Okay, this is the other main difference. So you want the, see the country I put it in the column wise, so you can see the country is in the column wise, but I want the same country in the report filter area also. I cannot have. If I have it, then the column wise my country list is gone, you see. So you can either have it in the report filter or have it in rows or columns, but in slicer it is not of that case. I can have the country in column wise. Okay, now you can see, the slicer is also there. Okay, so I can just select, see, I can use the slicer filter as well as the same country list is in the column wise. Okay, but in traditional filter, if the country I want it on the report filter itself, the filter itself, country is gone. Okay, only you can select it in the report filter. Okay, but you cannot have it here as a individual country wise. Okay, you cannot see the data on column wise. You see, that is the main difference. You cannot use both, but in the slicer, okay, in the slicer you can use both. You can have it in the slicer as well as you can also see it on the column wise or row wise. Okay, same for product also. Okay, this is the another difference. Okay, one more difference is that if you have multiple slices, I will introduce one more slicer, and I have it for example for category. Okay, so I have it for category. Now I also have it for the product. Okay, I'll just keep the category here and the product here. Okay, so okay, what happens here is that when I select a particular slicer, and for example I have Australia, and I have, for example, first three products. Okay, so now what I have, okay, what I just remove the filters, a clear filter. This is the one useful for clearing the filter. Okay, so I have only three products. Okay, then what I can see here is that I have it for Australia, Canada, and so on. Okay, so UK and USA. Okay, you can use multiple slices to pick the information, but I will show you one thing. For example, anisette syrup, this product. Once I select the product in the slicer, you can see the countries Australia, EU, UK and USA or in darkened color, and C and NZ in gray color. Okay, it's lighter color. So it shows that this anisette syrup having records of countries, only the countries Australia, EU, UK and USA records are there. The anisette syrup only attached to these four countries. There is no records of CA and NZ. This is very useful information for the analytical point of view. When you tries to see in glance itself, you say, oh, okay, this anisette syrup, I don't have a records of Canada and New Zealand. You see, it is very, very interesting that I don't have a records for now if I select both the categories new and old, I have only for these countries but no Canada. Okay, this is very useful information, that it gives another view to see it on the slicer itself. It is not only used for filtering, and also it is used to convey the information that a particular product is not in the country, or a particular country is not existing for a particular category, and so on. So your fields interconnection, the relationship, as well as the slices relationship, as well as the whether the information is available or not. Okay, so it is not only giving the option to select the filter, but it also gives the information that whether it is available or not. But in this case, you don't have such a thing in traditional filter. You have all the available countries, but you cannot say, okay, the CA is not available or not. Only thing is, you just select and see each individual country and check whether a particular country record is available or not for a particular product. Okay, but it is giving the full list of countries, that's it. But whereas the slicer also gives the full list of countries, same time it also pass you one more valuable information, that CA is not at all existing. Okay, this is the very main difference of traditional filter and the country filter and the slicer. Okay, so these are all the things you must keep in mind, that what you want to use it, whether the slicer or the traditional filter. Okay, and you can work on you are the one who has to decide that whether you want to work on the traditional filter on the slicer. Okay, so slicer is more familiar in BI tools, and it is more easier to view what is the information available in just a matter of click. Okay, but in traditional you may have to do additional steps to select, as well as the filter, whatever you select and apply is not that much viewable easily. Okay, you need to have extra effort to view it, whereas the slicer gives more additional information with the pivot table itself. Okay, and the space difference is the other thing. Okay, traditional takes only a little space, but the slicer takes a lot of space. Okay, and if you have you want to introduce lot of slicer, then you don't have a space for your pivot table. Okay, hope this video is very helpful to you, and if you like my video, my Alan Sam channel logo is already there in the view in the video. Just press on that and subscribe to my channel, and you won't be missing any of my videos. And you leave your comments and suggestions, and God bless you.